Hi guys, so I'm just gonna go over three quick news that happened uh, around basically April 1st. It's gonna be about the whole Wisconsin Supreme Court election, what happened with the election, the special election in Florida, and also situation with the whole Russia, Ukraine, Trump update. So first, I want to talk about how Susan Crawford won the Wisconsin Supreme Court race, which is what Musk and Trump didn't want to happen because she was backed by many Democrats, and that's a really crucial state court position because that really can make a big difference once it comes to redrawing the map, in especially for the midterm election in 2026, and then obviously the presidential election in 2028. That's why these things matter. That's why I always keep telling people every vote you do, local, state, and federal, all matters. It makes a humongous difference. And state elections, in particular, are just as important as the federal ones, even more than the local ones, because those can really change the entire map on how your vote will count towards Democratic candidate or Republican candidate. Local elections also matter, like your mayor, but education, stuff like that, all matters, but they're not as important, in terms of general impact for the entire U.S. population as the state and federal elections. But they still matter in the local level. So make sure you run for office in a progressive manner, be minimum, preferably be a leftist, but at least somewhat decently at AOC Bunny level and go from there. But I'm gonna watch this video really quick. I just thought that was interesting and I was happy that she won. There's a quick video about this.
Overnight, voters in Wisconsin and Florida sending two different messages to the nation's capital. All right, Wisconsin, we did it. Susan Crawford winning the Wisconsin Supreme Court race against Brad Schimmel, the GOP backed candidate supported by President Trump and his top ally, Elon Musk.
Yeah, so they really wanted him to win. So this is a good thing. This makes a big difference in the long term. Like I said, when they can do the whole remapping when it comes to your votes for a Democratic or Republican candidate or someone who's for a third party candidate. So it makes a big difference.
Crawford's victory preserving a liberal majority on the battleground state's high court and is a blow for Musk, who
Look at the stupid cheese hat that Musk was using. He's really he's such a dweeb. That's the best way I can describe Musk in the moments like this. Besides being a complete asshole and a white supremacist, he's also a total dweeb.
invested millions in the race and traveled to Wisconsin attempting to energize voters. The billionaire even giving away $1 million checks to people who signed his petition opposing what he calls activist judges.
By the way, it's illegal what Musk was doing to give incentive, financial incentive for voters to choose a specific candidate. That's actually really against federal law.
As a little girl growing up in Chippewa Falls, I never could have imagined that I'd be taking on the richest man in the world. But GOP candidates coming out on top across the country in Florida.
Yeah, that's what we'll talk about soon, the next article, but which is expected. Unfortunately, the special election, that's regarding the U.S. House of Reps. Republicans won again the special election, which is typical of Florida. I don't really see anytime in the future Florida ever become even slightly left leaning. So extremely hardcore conservative right wing to the extreme state. They're always competing with Texas and other state who is more extreme on the right wing side than the other. It's not a great state for the working class, middle class people and disadvantaged groups like women, people of color, LGBTQ plus community, people with physical mental disabilities, mental illnesses, etc. So just keep that in mind. They did win with a lot less advantage points, which is a good thing. But again, it's a special election, and people barely vote. Honestly, during even local, state, and federal primary and general elections, and special elections even less. But it's possible in some states for people like Wisconsin to go out of their way for the special elections that will only last until 2026. That's a real midterm election that's going to really matter even more. But it was extremely important for Democrats take over the House at least to put a stoppage. And of course, it's never happened. Unfortunately, a lot of Democrats don't really go out of their way to vote in Florida. They assume they will lose, and those counties are extremely red. In general, what I notice from Republicans, they tend to vote more often during general elections. Sometimes for primary, but especially general election for the president. Uh, Sometimes midterms, but especially the president election. They don't focus too much on the special elections or even some local and state ones. So it's possible that Democrats could win if they really go out in extreme levels. But Florida's a tough one, just like Texas.
Special elections for two congressional seats vacated by Republicans Matt Gaetz and National Security Advisor Michael Waltz. Republicans Randy Fine and Jimmy Patronis both won victories in ruby red districts. The margins of victories less than half of what President Trump won.
That's what I was pointing out. They definitely won with much less than Trump, but against a special election. So this is not like, oh man, that means that Florida is becoming a slightly more, left wing or at least a little bit less right wing. Not really. It's a special election. Again, people in the United States don't take voting seriously. And something I've been noticing since the existence of the US, for the most part, a lot of people, even more so young people, don't take voting seriously. They think it's a right they're always going to have no matter what. It's a right that can be easily removed by fascism. Fascists, individuals like Trump, Elon Musk, J.D. Vance, Steve Bannon, Mike Johnson, etc. These people, they love fascism. It gives them power. Multimillionaires and billionaires love that crap. So your voting rights, just like any right, can be completely removed, can be completely destroyed by someone like Trump, who's really pushing the limits because the court's not doing anything. They say, "Oh, that's illegal," but they don't send the U.S. Marshals after Trump. Oh, because Trump already took over DOJ. Do something. Use the military. Do something. I don't see anybody in the military who will ask for authority and power to go out of the way. You know what? We're gonna stop this. This has become too close to fascism. Not a single person in the military who actually can do something, and have a gather forces of military veterans go out of the way to stop this fascist takeover. Because unfortunately, the military is extremely right wing, and most of them agree with these right wing tactics.
Back in November, though turnout for special elections is traditionally lower. Thank you to President Trump. Securing those seats was critical for Republicans, given their slim majority in the House. Overnight, Trump celebrating Fine's victory on social media, while Fine giving him credit. Because of you, Mr. President, I won't let you down. Democrats and Republicans vowing to continue fighting in the traditionally conservative.
These people are really ignorant. It's unfortunate, but you see a lot of these ignorant people who, in general, tend to be very uneducated regarding politics and how it really impacts their livelihoods. As much as they talk about the politics, and in general, Americans mainly only care about um, the economy, wherever impacts the pocket is a very individualistic mentality, which is very typical of a capitalist economy like the US. But it's unfortunate because these people would literally be impacted in a negative way by Republicans. So Trump and his entire administration, Republicans in Congress, Republicans as state, federal judges. It sucks. It's gonna really impact them, and we already know that people, especially living in rural areas of the U.S., they rely heavily on welfare programs like SNAP, which is really crucial for a lot of them. Uh, Among others, that really help them with food, rent assistance, medical assistance like Medicaid, things like that are really important for them. So they don't realize that literally Trump is already getting cutting the budget for Social Security, which is going to impact Social Security checks if you can get any. Especially when us younger and older millennials, uh, younger and older millennials end up retiring, we might not get Social Security, even though that's completely illegal because we invested in it. But it's a whole other issue. There are ways to fix that, but the ways to do it would mean that billionaires cannot be billionaires, and that's not what they want. And as someone who just recently became a naturalized citizen, I just did recently, which I'll make a video separate about that, with my experience regarding that. Now I can actually legally vote this year, finally as a naturalized citizen. So now I'm American. It just the way I say I can't separate myself from the typical Americans who just don't really care about helping people in other people in their behalf, going out of your way to vote for others, not for yourself. That's what I think voting should be. It should be doing as a community thing. You may not agree with abortion rights, but you know that if you don't vote for it, women will be punished. They will be have a much harder life. So you should vote for abortion rights because that's women rights. Same thing with even if you have homophobic mentalities, transphobic mentalities, you should still vote to protect the rights of LGBTQ plus community members. Because if you take out their rights, it's only going to be the next people in line. It's going to be people calling that. It's going to be white Jewish people. It's going to be someone who, oh, you're South American and you're white Latino, you're not white enough. It's just going to keep going to the next list and next list of who's going to be impacted and they're going to get the rights removed.
Regions. It's not the end, it's a beginning for future races here. This election is a reminder that Florida Panhandle will forever be red and it'll be forever Trump country.
That's not a good thing.
Now, Democrats winning in Wisconsin and Republicans winning in Florida may not seem too shocking, but it's the nuance of these election results that could shape the political strategies for future candidates on both sides of the aisle going forward.
Well, so that was the video. Yeah, disappointing end. That's basically what I really wanted to watch on this article. This again was from April 1st, 2025 from NBC News. This next article is oops, let me pause that. Sorry about that. This next article is from The Guardian. This is exactly what's saying the video, so I'm not gonna spend too much time on this. This was from April 2nd, 2025. It mentions the two Republicans like they did in the previous video. I didn't realize they would talk about this as well. Randy Fine and Joshua, they Randy Fine beats Joshua and Jimmy Patronis defeated the other person. So they both had won the special election for Congress position, specifically the U.S. House of Representatives. So that's basically it. We talked about in the video already. Now, this last thing I want to talk about is regarding the whole Russia situation where Putin does not want to accept Trump's Ukraine peace plans because Trump wants also own at least half, if not more than half, of Ukraine's rare minerals, like really important stuff. And Putin wants all of that for himself. He doesn't want to share with Trump. So probably rather than just read the whole article, which is not that long anyway, I'm probably gonna watch this video really quick. Is this from April 1st, 2025 Newsweek website? Okay. US President Donald Trump is attempting to broker. Yeah, we basically know what he's trying to do. It's the whole, peace is really just to own a lot of crap from Ukraine. And we already know what happened within the whole Zelensky situation where Trump and JD Vance treated him like crap when he came in, and Trump called Zelensky a dictator, even though Trump is a wannabe dictator, and literally has been acting like Putin among all the dictators. It's terrible situation. Not since Zelensky is a perfect president, but he's in a situation where there's no point having an election during literally war with Russia. It's not gonna work in Ukraine. I don't know who would want to run against Zelensky anyway. At this point, it's a terrible time to be a president in Ukraine right now, so it's not a good time. Yeah, I think this video might not be much voiceover. So let me just minimize. I'm just gonna scroll down here. I thought someone would do a voiceover. Um, so we already know the whole situation with that Putin basically, as I said, they disagree with the peace plan, which again is not really great peace plan for Ukraine, even though Russia started the war, and it was just such a policy. Right after we're done with basic the pandemic, Russia started their own bullshit, really. And part of the deal is to basically prevent Ukraine from joining NATO, which is unfair. Which obviously they would love to join NATO and the European alliance, the EU. It would be nice, but I understand why it's difficult. Again, Ukraine also had issues with fascism. They're not a perfect country. So I'm not gonna act like Ukraine's a perfect country. It's not. But Russia started a war again with them and it was pointless. And all basically Zelensky want is to have the proper full territories that Ukraine already had without Putin owning it, and not freaking US come over and, oh, we're gonna own half or more half of your personal rare minerals and all the materials that we want. That's such a business contract deal. There should be more of a political, peaceful plan, not a business one that Trump is trying to make this into. Again, Trump treats everything like it's a business. This is not the time for that crap. This is the time to think beyond just making money or making a profit out of a country who's desperate. I mean, Russia is pretty much running out of all the old equipment and everything from what they had back in the 20th century. At this point, they probably use up a lot of it, probably most of it. And I think they're about to run out of that, which they're definitely using it up. So now they're gonna have to use whatever is the new stuff, which they may not have enough. So for Russia, this ongoing war is also not good for them. In the long term, they should win. They have a much bigger population, bigger military, but Ukraine kept surviving because of U.S. sending them a lot of weapon and Europe sending a lot of money, a lot of things to help them. So without the assistance, they will not survive. And for Europe, in general, the West, for Europe, North America to kind of deal with Russia, Ukraine was like a good way to support to deal with the war situation. It was a benefit for the West, you can say, from the arguing in that sense. I think the war is completely pointless. Russia should just have their country. Ukraine should have their country. No fascism, takeover, no dictatorship. US should not be trying to own anything from Ukraine. That should not be happening. War is not good. Same thing with Israel committing genocide in Gaza and killing a bunch of Palestinians. I understand Hamas is a terrorist, whatever you want to say, but what Israel is doing is literally genocide. There's no other way to describe it. Israel should know better, and they know they've been doing this crap with Gaza and just Palestinians in general for centuries. It's an ongoing issue with them. It's literally genocide or ethnic cleansing, whatever way you want to describe it. But anyway, I just keep scrolling down. And like I said in every video, there's gonna be all in my description, and you guys can pause to read more details. I'm not gonna read too much in this, because we already know basically the whole situation with Trump and what Trump is doing. Unfortunately, Zelensky is not doing much. Not that he's doing much. Unfortunately, Zelensky cannot do much, and I know he's in a desperate situation, but he's not gonna be able to work with Trump like he did with Biden. It's unfortunate. Kamala would definitely help him out more. And the whole situation in Israel with Gaza, with the Palestinians being dealing with genocide, just got much worse. I know people thought, oh, Biden was not doing enough. He wasn't, but he was actually holding Israel back. With Trump, he's not holding them back. And there were a lot of Palestinians that wanted Kamala to win. Keep that in mind. So that's basically it for today. Let me know what you guys think about everything I discussed. Uh, if you're happy with the Wisconsin election, which is a decent one, I don't expect Democrats to be, you know, left leaning. They're not socialists. They're progressives, which is just mean they're a little bit left leaning, but not truly socialist. Unfortunately, like I want them to be, or at least a Democrat socialist party would be nice to actually have. But at least it's better than having just a Republican judge, at the state level. And then, unfortunately, maybe you guys are happy about it, maybe you guys are not. Let me know if you're happy with the Republicans winning Florida again. It's expected. Um, and let me know what you think about the whole Russia not accepting Trump's useless peace plan between Russia and Ukraine. And if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe to the channel. If you're watching this on TikTok, also follow us on TikTok, and I'll reply to you guys as much as I can. All right, have a good night.